right now, there are so many women who are hearing the call, this deep yearning or pulling that there's more. So many women are waking up to the sacred feminine, to their divinity, and are really hearing the call to reclaim the sacred. And in this episode, me and one of my dear friends, soul sisters, are going to be deep diving with you of what the journey through your feminine essence really looks like and what this journey has looked like for us, in hopes that as you hear this, it will activate your own remembrance. Welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive and exploration into your inner world, into your body, the shadow realms, where we will begin to explore some of these esoteric principles and really begin to drop them down into modern day application and embodiment. This is a sacred place where you can begin to truly meet yourself, meet your medicine, and to meet your magic. This is a place of remembrance. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Welcome, Cynthia, to the Shadow Priestess Embodied podcast. I'm so excited to have you with me today. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super, super excited to be here.
So I have an absolute treat for you guys today. My dear friend, soul sister, and me have been having these deep conversations behind the scene where we have really been talking about what it means to reclaim the sacred, what it means to come back home into the feminine. And we've been having these just juicy discussions behind the scenes. And I thought, hey, why don't we bring this to the podcast to share and support some of you who may also be going through these deep portals of rebirth and initiation, and just to find some way to truly support you and to see you along this journey. So I think where I'd like to start, Cynthia, is just speaking to like, what does it mean to you to really reclaim the feminine or to come home to the sacred? What does that mean to you?
Such a big, beautiful question. Oh my goodness. How long do we have?
Maybe we'll do part two. We'll see.
Part two. Okay. Yeah. You know what? For me, this path has come through shedding the attachments, and it came through loss. And as I went through these, what felt like, massive challenge and chaos, I'm now in the space of where it's like emergence into who you truly came here to be, instead of all of the identities of who you were told to be. And I've always been connected to the divine. Now I finally feel like I can call myself a mystic. I'm definitely had my own initiation with the divine over the last 2 years. And it's like this deep collapse of who we were, and this awareness where you're able to look at your life almost like hovering above it, and realizing that, for me, it was just being deeply in the mystical closet and being afraid to express myself in terms of my magic and my knowing. And that shows up in relationships, whether for me it was romantic, it was friendships, and coming home to my sacred self has been, gosh, it's so layered, and there's so many dimensions to it, and so many different ways that I look at it now. For me, though, it's like shedding that old archetype of the good girl and really understanding what it means to be connected within, and to have to know my value, and to be all of me. so that I can fully, not no longer be connected to blaming and controlling and being really stuck in a really over masculinized paradigm. And you and I talk about that a lot in our conversations, where, like, my God, how many times in the past have we fought ourselves just to slow down and like tune into our bodies and listen to the inner wisdom that is wanting to pour through.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love everything that you're sharing, and I also can resonate with that so deeply, especially when you're talking about like being in the spiritual closet. I felt that for so long. It's almost like I trapped away the truth of myself or my essence, and I hid it, right? Like that was such the core of who I was, or my core frequency or flavor of my soul, but I was so afraid to let everyone else see it. So I was the good girl. I was the people pleaser. I was everyone and everything that I thought my parents wanted me to have friends, to have boyfriends. And I think for me, the reclamation of the feminine, of the sacred, was in letting go of those expectations or attachments of others, of even who I believed myself to be. It's not even the projections of others, it was who I
Yeah.
believed myself to be. And as I let go of those, it's like I created this space to actually meet myself and to meet my medicine and to meet my magic. And it's messy as fuck, you guys. I mean, it is messy as fuck. This morning, Cynthia and I were just talking about how much resistance comes to this path, because it's so uncomfortable and it's so unfamiliar and it's so unknown to you that you instantly, the mind makes it wrong. Even when the body is like a fuck yes, like this is who you are and who you're here to be, the mind creates all these eternal stories and meanings or emotions because it's afraid, it's scary to be seen, right? Like it creates so much fear in the body because kind of like we talked about in previous episodes, like that witch wound, that sister wound, right? That good girl wound, like they're so deeply embedded of us individually, collectively, ancestrally, that we don't even realize how much they're running the show until you are like, I am fucking ready to emerge, essentially. Like I'm ready to be rebirthed. And then it's like you're met with so much of the incongruence, so much of the
Yeah.
bullshit, so much of the things that were never really yours to begin with, right? Like, I mean, it's hard. It's definitely an initiation.
Yes. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is messy. And I think this is where a lot of women, they back away from it because it's that fear of the unknown. It's in
Yeah.
that shedding process, though, what you were saying, that's where we meet ourselves. And yeah, it's like, I when my mom passed away, I realized that was kind of where I was like, wow, a lot of people might think I'm having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And what I realized is, well, this is actually where we get to crack open and move into our wise woman energy, and like the unbridled wild woman that wants to come out, because we don't have to be attached to these old attachments and those old paradigms. And I feel like that the collective energy is so intense right now that
Yeah.
women are, they are literally, I kind of feel like hitting up against old versions of themselves until it sheds away,
Mm-hmm. Well,
you
and I
know?
think too, like you're saying, that the energy isn't intense. And I think, you've been on this path, I know, a long time as myself. So I would say even a decade ago, people weren't having these conversations. Like this wasn't a thing that was mainstream. And now with the energies, with, Gaia ascending, essentially, with, we just had one of the most powerful Lions gates to date.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was fascinating about this is it wasn't even just the star series and that energy that was coming through. it was actually so much of the Venus line that was coming through. It was the pink frequency, it was the rose frequency, because there's such a mass awakening of the divine feminine. Like feminine essence beings are waking up, they're being called, they're being initiated. And to do that, you have to fully meet your shadow. You have to fully come against all the parts of you that aren't in alignment with who you came here to be.
Yeah.
How or what would you say is a key indicator to a woman who is ready to be initiated? Or how can you know you're hearing the call of the sacred feminine? Like, what did that look like in your life? Or how did you know it was time to kind of embody more of the feminine, I guess is a good way to put it.
That's a great question. For me, it showed up through me starting a business. So I was merging out of a box that I was in, which was, my job and my job description. So as I started my business, I was, helping women. It was very, very much though the version of me fully in my masculine. And so I had success, all of these great things happen. And then, then for me, it showed up through loss. So when my mom passed away, that was kind of when like I felt like I did not really understand. I mean, I understood, but I didn't understand because there was just so much chaos in the shedding. And so like after my mom had passed, then when I kind of went back to business, nothing felt congruent, nothing felt right. Then I was questioning, am I supposed to have this business? Like what is the next path? That's when I started calling on spirit more. I started praying more. I started tuning in more, going in and being with, my higher self. And I think that really for me is where the feminine was calling, because it's like I didn't fit into that 3-dimensional box anymore, the way I was taught to do business.
Yeah.
Because you can't put your feminine in a box. Like that's been my greatest aha. And so it's like the way of doing business, but also who I was being, that didn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
And that was really where I felt like that's where my initiation started, being cracked open. And yeah, it's amazing to look back now and to really be able to see it for what it is. Like a lot of people would be like, Cynthia, like, how can you say that? Like you lost your mom at like the right time, as crazy as that might sound.
No, I feel that too with my dad passing. I totally
Right?
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and we take on these imprints, and I kind of feel like you get to the point in your journey where it's like there's another cycle that needs to start. Like we're being invited into it, and holding on is just, it's so painful. And I will also share, because I feel like this might be relevant for a lot of women. I started after my mom passed. I went inward. I was doing a ton of shadow work. I was asking to see the truth. I was really calling it in. And then, and I also was trained in unconscious mind tools. So I have tools that help women clear anxiety. And suddenly I started having anxiety. Suddenly I started having panic attacks. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And it was in a moment where this is, look at all the signs around us. My brakes failed. I couldn't leave my home. So I was like, I got to go within. Like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. And literally, God was like, we're going to make this really, really loud until we're here.
Yeah.
And it was startling. And yet it was like relieving. And I'll tell you, the moment I surrendered, that's when they stopped. Like they literally turned just like that. So for anyone who is really feeling that pressure within, that panic, that anxiety, like I highly invite you to sit with your higher self, because we get the opportunity to witness our truth. And And it requires, though, a new level of embodying faith and trust in the unfolding, trust in the divine.
Yeah.
My
And
God.
I will say, we always say, like, we hear so much like, oh, I trust the universe, right? You just need to
Yeah.
trust the universe. You need to have faith. But that's also trusting yourself, having
Yeah.
faith in yourself, because you are a child of the cosmos. You
Yeah.
are the universe in human form. You are divinity in human form. So as you lean into the unknown and you are building trust within that, you also are building trust in yourself. And every time you build trust in yourself, you begin to open doors, opportunities to everything that's aligned for you. But it's like, how can I hold the faith? How can I hold the faith? And I think so much to what you were just speaking to, you know, what I want you guys to take away from this is like, the feminine is calling to you. You know that you are being invited into initiation, and it normally comes as a fucking painful ending. It's going to look like
Yeah.
everything's crumbling down. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your parent. A relationship's going to end. Maybe clients start falling away, right? It looks almost like a complete dismantling in your life, or where you are like, I am showing up in this life that doesn't feel like mine. This
Yeah.
relationship doesn't feel like mine. I don't like this food anymore. I don't like to hang out with these people. I don't like to do, like,
Yeah.
it's suddenly you feel like you got boop, implanted in somebody else's life, and you're like, what the fuck? You start
Yeah.
questioning everything. Who
Yeah.
am I? What am I here to do? What is my truth? It's
Yeah.
like you start getting all these things so fucking loud. And like Cynthia saying, the more you resist that, the
Oof.
longer it persists. You get the anxiety, you get the
Yeah.
panic, all these things start happening when the medicine in the void is surrender. It
Yeah.
is surrender. And that is the hardest fucking part when you've been in the toxic masculine, swinging that
Yes.
energetic dick that Cynthia always says. That's the
Yes.
hardest thing to do, is to go into the feminine. The hardest thing is to be
It's
in surrender. But it's the
it's
medicine you need to let go, to unattach, to let reality be what it is. And you just get to like ask yourself every day, it's like, what do I desire? What's here? What's here in my
yeah.
body? What's alive for me? And it's like coming home to the body, coming home to the womb, coming home to the intuition that you've always had all along, but you can't hear because you're so in the mind, right?
Yeah. Oh, so I love what you just said. And I just want to add one more thing, that when things stop flowing, that really is the time to go within. And yet many women are trained to push,
Mm-hmm.
harder, and I'm going to control more, and I'm going to go more into that hustle, where we are wearing our energetic penis, and we're like, we really truly are. And then we wonder why nothing's working, because there's
Yeah.
this whole other part of us that wants to emerge.
Well, I think you hit a really good point there, that on a society level, on a collective level, we've been taught to push through it, that the answer is always more, bigger,
Yeah.
and that's not the way of the sacred feminine. Not saying that that way of being doesn't work for some people. We see people create successful lives in that way, but it's only up until a certain point. Are they in flow? Is it in ease? Is it in enjoyment, fulfillment? Is it in fucking pleasure? Fuck
Yeah.
no. It's in burnout. It's in hustle. It's in force. So if those are the frequencies you wish to live, by all means, swing your energetic dicks.
Yeah.
But if you want to come home to your essence, to your truth, to live a life that truly is pleasurable and gets to feel good, then what we're saying is there's a complete other way to do this. And it's trusting that just as nature is cyclical, so is the feminine. There is going to be times where you're fucking flowing and you're booming and you're creative and things feel like they're just thriving and growing. And then you're going to be invited into initiation and things are going to feel like fucking death and dying. And it's going to be a void. It's going to be cold and it's going to be nothingness. And the path of a mystic, the path of a feminine, is how strongly you can hold your faith, your frequency in the darkness, right? In the cauldron, in the womb. Like, what is your
Yeah.
faith then? What is your embodiment then? You know, how deeply can you trust God, trust yourself then? And it's like the more you lean into that womb of the cosmic mother, into the liminality, into the mysterial, you meet the depths of your being. You meet like your magic. You meet like that gifting, that uniqueness, that otherness that you're here to embody and express. But you can't meet that if you're constantly thinking that it's like a linear, just uphill thing of bigger, bigger, more money, more clients, more this. You're gonna miss the fucking juice. You're gonna miss it, all the just that's in the depth, that's in the void.
Yeah. And the one thing that we haven't mentioned is the natural birthright of magnetism, which is on the other side. When you disconnect from being, in the push force hustle, you come back into your magnetic frequency. And I think that's also sometimes where women are initiated, is when they just can't keep going down the push path. They're like, there has to be an easier way. And after my mom passed away, I know that's what I was calling in. I just didn't understand all the chaos that came with it, from literally breaking down the matter, breaking down myself, to invite in more of this light, more of this, like euphoric energy that is laying dormant.
Yeah. And magnetism is the feminine superpower. Like your magnetism is your superpower to run your business, your life in the sacred, in the divine feminine. Because if you think about it, think about like someone that is just whole by themselves, right? Like they're in fulfillment, they're in their joy, they're in their pleasure. They're in this energy where it's like, oh my God, it's like, I just love being around you. Like, you just want to drink it up. You want to be around them because they're not trying to get anything from you. They are whole all by themselves, which makes them so magnetic. So for you, it's like, how can I let go of this energy of trying to get money, get clients, get the relationship, get the love? And how can I be so full and open in myself that it's coming from a place of openness and joy, instead of trying to like get and siphon something to fill you up? Right? Like, does that make sense? Because that's the difference. It's like when you are so whole already and so attuned to yourself, to your truth, to your magic, it's like you don't fucking care if anybody's coming to sit at the table anyway. Right? You're like,
right. Yeah.
I'm fucking good over here. Come sit with me if you want, but if not, I'm over here eating. It's fine.
Right. Absolutely. And like, I'll share, like, I've played with this. I'm going to say, like, the month of April and May, I really played with this. I did less than I've ever done, and I made more money. Because I am the vessel where the energy flows through me, and things just, like magic, because we are the magic, they start to show up.
Yes.
This is what's available to all women when they take that first step forward.
So what would you say to women? Like if they're listening to this conversation and they're like, this sounds fucking amazing, you guys, but what? But how? So if you're listening to that and you're like, yeah, you guys, that sounds like fairy tales and rainbows. No, this can absolutely be your life. This can be your reality. What would you say if you had like one piece of advice, like one thing that you wish like someone could have came back to your younger self earlier on your journey when you were going through this? Like, what is that one like piece of advice that you so wish you had earlier on when you were being initiated into the sacred?
Oh my goodness. It would have been focusing and spending more of my energy on just building that inner trust with myself, and the inner trust of my spirit, and to know that the universe wants us to be happy. We have to tell it to go get us the happy, though, right? Like, we're also programming this field around us. So like there's pieces, and for me though, it's the going within, because I always was looking outside of me for everything. And the magic is within, the sacred is within, and surrender, like, let yourself surrender faster, because, like, trust me, it can feel not fun when we don't surrender. And like, that makes it easier. And like to know that when you are literally like pulling off these attachments from yourself and your life, that there's something else that wants to come into the forming. And I think that's, had I had that understanding and really gain that inner trust in knowing that I'm letting go of all of this, it's not for nothing. There's something on the, like, that's at a higher frequency that wants to come into my life, that wants to you know, align with my new frequency. So it's not like we're doing it for nothing. These initiations are so important for who we are, our life, and whoever really we're here to be.
Mm. I love that. And I'm sitting here trying to think, like, is there something I want to add to that, or is there a different flavor or perspective I want to bring in? But I think for me it's been pretty much the same. I think that when things start going, I don't want to say wrong, but how we perceive as wrong. I'll say that. Like things start going how we perceive as wrong. We start placing judgments on reality. This shouldn't be happening. And, I shouldn't have lost that relationship. I shouldn't have lost this job. We get into that victim, like, woe is me. And whatever we resist, persist, right?
Yeah.
So the longer you spend resisting it or making it wrong or bad, it's like it amplifies that frequency, and it's like you're so much in the story or the chaos that you can't see the medicine or the gift in the now, because reality just is. It's not good, bad, right, wrong, and it just is. And
Yeah.
it's so much how we feel about it, our emotions,
Yeah.
that cause our experience with that reality. So instead of making it wrong or bad, or this shouldn't be happening to
Yeah.
me, I've been there, not calling you out, been there. Um, it's fully dropping into that surrender. It's letting go of the expectations, the attachments of how we believe something should be, and really looking at, okay, well, what is here? Like, what is happening in my life? How can I begin to move forward with this? Maybe this is a gift for me. How is this actually everything that I asked for? And maybe it just doesn't look how I think it was going to look. Okay. Um, that one slapped me in the face a few times, because when my reality started to change, there was so much of that story for me. Like, oh my God, this is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. This isn't how I thought it was going to go. In my head, it was going to be butterflies and rainbows, and it was going to go like this. And it looked completely different. However, the universe still was giving me everything that I need in order to unlock this next chapter of expression, of business, of impact, of everything. But it's going through the darkness, it's going through the unknown. And it's like Cynthia had said, in those moments when you feel like, things aren't flowing, or maybe the ideas, the inspiration, the creativity, whatever it is for you, isn't coming through. This isn't a time to push harder and get into your head about, what do I have to do? How do I get there? This is about dropping back home into your body. It's about connecting with your intuition. It's about taking care of your vessel, because if you are here to be a priestess, a healer, a mystic, then your vessel is your connection to the divine. And it's about, how clear can I get in my channel? How deeply can I get in my ritual, in my practice, in my connection to God? Because it's in that you are actually going to unlock what's next for you. It's not found in the head, it's found in the body. It's found in the intuition. It's found in the womb. It's found in your connection with something greater than yourself, because to truly be an expression of divinity, of the sacred, that doesn't come from the logical mind or anything you think your life should look at. It looks when you drop into surrender and pledge yourself to be a vessel to love into something greater than yourself. That is when you find your magic.
Yeah, you know what? I will say, like, when I started my spiritual business, my mind was all in my masculine, and
Hell
it
yeah.
was, yeah, it was all about, okay, I have to do more to show up more and to get more, people and help more people. And the truth is if anyone knows David Bohm talks about the quantum impact, where one, and I'm hopeful I'm saying this exact, the number, when one person releases judgment and they move into compassion and love, they can impact on a quantum level like 700,000 people. And that only comes through us doing the deep shadow surrender and the peeling, right? Like because truthfully, I meet a lot of women where, you know, we are so taught in the light worker world, oh, love and light, love and light. Yeah, but we're bypassing the part of our vessel that wants to bloom and expand and allow the sacred energy, you know, to run through us. Like when I think about Jesus, like Jesus was a spiritual, he was a magician, he was a saint. He worked with, you know, him and Mary had this beautiful sacred union as they worked together to clear their vessels. It's like, that's really what we're here to do, is to, like you said, illuminate the light body. That's the greatest impact we will ever make on the planet. You can walk and heal people, like truthfully, like it will spark things out of them. That's what I believe.
No, I 100% believe that as well. And that's why I believe that so many of us are light workers are placed all over the world, because it's like to hold those pillars of light, to anchor that frequency, you know, into your communities, into Gaia, into your families, you know, whatever that looks like. And I think that a beautiful way to really embody this, if you think about it, it's like everybody thinks that I'm going to change, like the change happens on the physical first, and that's not true. It's like things happen in the quantum, in the spiritual, on a mental, emotional level before you ever bear the fruits in the 3D. So it's like by you attuning to your vessel, by you becoming this version of yourself, by you honoring deep devotion. Ooh, I would say that's another gift. I would say it's the surrender, devotion, and taking care of your vessel. Devotion is a huge part. It's like, no matter what this looks like, no matter, you know, how bad I feel like things are right now, or, you know, that I'm not seeing it. It's like, I am devoted to this. I believe in this. I trust this. I know this is what I'm here to do. And it's like that frequency of devotion opens up all the doorways to your desires. Those two go so hand in hand, but it's like, how deeply can you be in devotion when your dad dies, when your mom, when you lose your job, when you lose your clients, when, you know, that dream guy you thought, God is my forever, you know, it crumbles. Can you still be devoted to the path, to God, to yourself? And I think that there's the reclamation, right? Like that is the path. It is through surrender and devotion to yourself and to love and something greater.
Yeah, oh, I love that. And I just want to add one final thing. I feel like there's a lot of women who are in the middle of the chaos who think they're failing. And the truth is you're being initiated.
Woo! Drop the mic right there.
Right? You feel that? Oh yeah. You're being initiated. So like you're not failing.
And how differently would you approach this season of your life if you didn't feel that you were failing and you took this as an initiation in your rebirth back home?
Changes everything.
Yeah, such a different way to approach it. I love it. I want to respect your time because I know that you do have clients today. But is there anywhere that you would like people to connect with you, to find you? How would you like our listeners to find you? Or where's the best?
You know what? So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Cynthia _accelerate sacred power. And if I haven't quite said that right,
I'll drop it too in the show notes.
And you can also check me out on my website at accelerateyoursacredpower.com.
Well, I wish we had more time because I just could talk to you forever. You know this. Love you so much. One of my dearest friends and soul sisters. But just thank you so much for being here and sharing your truth and your embodiment and your wisdom. And we'll definitely have a part 2.
I would love that. Thank you so much. And yeah, I love you so much. And I'm just gratitude for who you are and your devotion.
Yes. Oh, well, I love you and thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today for another juicy episode of Shadow Priestess Embodied. I absolutely love diving in and having these conversations with you all. If this is an episode that you found intriguing, that you found some nuggets in, please share it with a friend and be sure to subscribe and follow me so you can be present for all of the upcoming transmissions, activations, and downloads that I'll be bringing to our community. Have an absolutely magical day, and I'll see you soon.